Hi, this is Dennis. I was going to just go rather quickly through a short demonstration about creating, maybe using and passing arrays. So I started with a shell for a program. This is what our programs have looked like short of a menu system. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create this constant right here called size. This will be used to set the size of an array. So hopefully, as you realize from my notes, an array has three parts. An array has three parts, and that is the name of the array, data type name of the array, and size. So I'm going to say an array of ints. I'm going to call it array, and it's going to have a size of size elements, and I can initialize that array as such. So all the elements in this array will have a 0 in them. So the second part of the array is what I call the effective size, and I like to call that count. Some people call it effective size. You can name it whatever you want. So this creates the array with size elements, and this will be the effective size. Alright, so I can do something like this. I'll do a for loop for I gets 0, I less than 25, I plus plus. So here's a simple for loop. And you know what? Instead of I, I'm not even going to use I. I'm going to use my count variable. So I already have it set to 0 here, so I don't need to reinitialize it. And I'm going to say count plus plus. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put values into this array. So I'm going to say array sub count gets count times 3. That's it. So this is a simple little array, and this is a simple little for loop. This is what I'm going to call load the array. Down here, I'm going to call this display the array. So typically when we're dealing with arrays, we are going to be using a for loop. So this time when I display the array, I am going to use I and start at 0, and I'm going to say, well, I is less than what we're going to call the effective size, and here is my I plus plus. So what I'm wanting to do here is display the contents of the array. So I can say printf, and I'm going to say %i dot /t. So I'm going to do a line number, and then I'm going to show the value of the array like so. So I have a placeholder. I need to put a I plus 1, comma, then the value of the array. So that is array sub I. A little confusing, but it should make sense soon. Array sub I. Alright, so I don't need this anymore, and probably didn't even need mustaches. This is only going to be a single line here. The last thing I'm going to do is pause this and let's watch it run. Pause it and let's watch it run. So when it runs, hopefully it populated the array. And array sub 1 through 25, I started with 0, then I went 1 times 3 is that, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12, and so on. So this is just the locations in the array, and this would be the contents. Notice the contents do not have to be these numbers. It can be anything. All right, so what I want to do to end this video is I want to do two things, and those two things are I want to move the load and the display into a function. So for example, the load array is going to look like this. So I'm going to pass the load array, the count, and the array, and now I can move this down as a function here, and it's going to be a integer returning function called load array, and it's going to expect the array and the counter. As Dr. Archibald said, in all your functions that are value returning, you should make int result and return result. And then inside of this function, your job would be to make result equal value. So this is going to be the end of my load array function, and my load array function is going to have nothing more than this that I had before. This is going to be count. The letter C, because I don't have a count. I don't even have an array. I just have A and C and so on. So that would load the array. At the end of the loading of the array, result gets C. So I store the counter back into result and then I return it. So this should load it, and then here I'm going to do the same thing with this display array. And in display array, I also need the array and the count or counter. And notice I'm going to take this code and place it down in this new function. So display array is going to be void display array, and function header is going to look just like the one below. Int A, the symbol for an array, comma, int C, and these could be anything you want to name them. And I'm going to put end display array here, and here's what display array is going to look like. And for whatever reason, I chose the name count C and the array the letter A. And I believe I'm done except for my two prototypes, so I'm going to bring this up here, and I'm going to prototype. Oh, I didn't copy it right. I'm going to do that one more time. Copy. And I'm going to prototype here. See an error up here, which I'm going to try to figure that out too. I can't type. And I'm going to also prototype one more. That would be this guy right here, since I have two functions. And it's going to go right there. Okay. Let's see why we have a red squiggly here. I don't know why I have a red squiggly here. All right, it turns out I just had to compile this one more time and that red squiggly goes away. So here's my program. I have 3 function prototypes. I have my display array, load array, and my flush, LM, all in alphabetical order. Here's my main. My main has 2 variables, the array and the counter, and 2 calls. One call to load, one call to display. How do you call a function with an array? Just pass the array name. pass the effective size. Notice here I do the same thing. Here's the function. I catch an array data type, array name, empty square brackets, and this is normal, the same as any other passing of a variable. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up because I don't want this to be too awful long. I'm going to run it one more time. Here it goes. When I run it, there is the output that we would have expected. I can change this to anything I want, and I'm going to stop. 1, 2, 3, have a